Everyone knows Keanu Reeves as one of Hollywood's most beloved stars, and Sandra Bullock has become one of the most successful and respected actresses of her generation. But there is something surprisingly special about these two stars. Their friendship began more than 30 years ago on the set of a movie called Speed. They had incredible chemistry on screen, but what happened behind the cameras was even more interesting. Years later, both Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock admitted something they had kept to themselves for a very long time. They had actually liked each other while filming Speed, but they never dated. Instead, something else happened. They became lifelong friends. So, how did this unusual Hollywood friendship begin? And why, after all these years, do Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock still have so much respect for each other? Let's go back to 1994. It all started in 1994. Sandra Bullock was still becoming known in Hollywood when she auditioned for a new action movie called Speed. The movie was about a bus that had to stay above 50 miles per hour, and the man playing the police officer trying to save everyone was Keanu Reeves. But there was one important thing the filmmakers wanted to make sure of. The chemistry between Keanu and Sandra had to feel real. During the audition, the two actors had to perform scenes together and test their chemistry. And it worked. Something clicked almost immediately. Sandra later remembered feeling very comfortable around Keanu. She described him as kind, respectful, funny, and completely genuine. Keanu had a similar impression of Sandra. Years later, he said that working with her was a joy because of her talent, humor, intelligence, and authenticity. But there was something neither of them knew at the time. Sandra had developed a crush on Keanu, and surprisingly, Keanu had a crush on Sandra too. Neither of them knew about the other's feelings. So while millions of people watched them fall in love on screen, something very different was happening behind the cameras. They were simply two actors who really enjoyed being around each other, and that friendship was about to become something that would last for decades. While filming Speed, Sandra Bullock began to realize that Keanu Reeves was very different from the image of a typical Hollywood action star. He was quiet, he was polite, and according to Sandra, he had a surprisingly playful sense of humor. The more time they spent together, the more comfortable they became around each other. Sandra later admitted that she had a crush on Keanu during the filming of Speed. But there was a problem. She had no idea that Keanu felt the same way. In fact, years later, Keanu revealed that he had also been interested in Sandra. He remembered one particular moment when Sandra invited him over to her home. They were talking, drinking champagne, and simply enjoying each other's company. Keanu said that he was nervous because he realized just how much he liked her, but nothing romantic happened between them, and perhaps that is what makes their story so unusual. They didn't turn their feelings into a relationship. Instead, they went their separate ways, while remaining genuinely close. And when they finally revealed these old feelings many years later, both of them could laugh about it. Their chemistry had been obvious on screen, but behind the scenes there had been a real connection too. The difference was that it never became a Hollywood romance. It became something much rarer, a friendship that survived for decades. After Speed, Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock went their separate ways. Both of them continued building successful careers in Hollywood. Sandra became one of the biggest stars in the world. Keanu became one of Hollywood's most recognizable actors. But even as their careers moved in different directions, they never seemed to lose their connection. And then, more than 10 years after Speed, something unexpected happened. In 2006, Keanu and Sandra reunited for another movie. The film was called The Lake House. This time, they weren't racing through a city on a speeding bus. They were playing two people who communicate through letters, while living in different years. And there was something familiar about seeing them together again. The chemistry was still there, but now they were older, more experienced, and much more comfortable with each other. There was no need to recreate what they had in Speed. Their natural friendship was already there, and audiences noticed it. For Sandra and Keanu, The Lake House was more than just another movie. It gave them a chance to work together again, more than a decade after the film that had first brought them together. And perhaps the most interesting part of their story was still to come, because years later they would finally reveal something that fans had wondered about for a very long time. What did they really feel about each other back in 1994? The answer was surprisingly sweet. So, after more than 30 years, what really happened between Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock? The answer is actually much simpler than the rumors. They never dated, but they did have feelings for each other. The difference is that neither of them knew about the other's crush at the time. And instead of becoming a Hollywood romance, their story became a lifelong friendship. Sandra has said that she believes they might have survived as a couple, but she also believes their friendship became stronger because they never had to go through a painful breakup. They simply grew up together on parallel paths. They continued their careers, met for dinner, supported each other, and even returned to the screen together. And perhaps that's what makes their friendship so special. Hollywood is full of relationships that begin with chemistry and end with a breakup. But Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock found something different. They found a friendship that survived fame, time, distance, and changing lives. More than 30 years after Speed, people still remember their chemistry. But maybe the real story isn't about what could have happened between them. It's about what actually did happen. Two actors met on a movie set, became close friends, and never stopped respecting each other. And honestly, sometimes the greatest Hollywood stories aren't the ones that end with a romance. Sometimes they end with a friendship that lasts a lifetime. Thanks for watching the World Show, and if you enjoyed this story, stay with us for another incredible Hollywood story.